Emma thought the nightmare ended the moment she escaped that house. But the next morning, she noticed something horrifying in a photo taken inside her apartment. The same woman from the house was still standing behind her. When Emma returned home for her grandmother's funeral, the house already felt wrong. Cold fog covered the neighborhood as the old floors creaked beneath her feet. She hadn't been back in 12 years, since her mother banned her from visiting. Then she noticed something waiting on the living room table. A massive stack of old family photo albums. Rain hammered the windows as Emma opened the first photo album. At first, everything looked normal. Birthday parties, Christmas dinners, family vacations. But the longer she looked through them, the stranger she began to feel. Then Emma froze completely. In the background of one old family picnic photo stood a woman she had never seen before. She wore a long white dress. Her skin looked pale against the dark trees behind her. And while everyone else in the photo looked distracted and natural, the woman was staring directly into the camera, smiling. Emma flipped through another album quickly, then another. Her heartbeat slowly began to rise. The same woman kept appearing in every single collection of photos. Different years, different places, different family members. But always the same expression, that same quiet smile. Some of the photos were over 40 years old. Others looked much newer. But the woman never changed. She never aged. Not even slightly. Emma stared at the photographs, taken decades apart, and standing in the background of both was the exact same woman. Then Emma found the photo that made her blood run cold. It was an old hospital picture taken before she was born. Her mother stood beside a newborn baby while nurses smiled nearby. And standing in the far corner of the room was the woman in white, watching them, smiling again. Suddenly the lights inside the house went out. The entire room dropped into darkness instantly. Emma jumped in fear as thunder exploded outside for a few seconds. The only sound she could hear was the rain and her own breathing. Then somewhere upstairs, something moved. Slow footsteps creaked across the second floor. Heavy, deliberate. Emma grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen and slowly stepped toward the staircase. Every step upward felt heavier than the last, and the entire time, the footsteps above her never stopped. The attic door stood slightly open. Dust drifted through the flashlight beam while cold air poured from inside. Emma pushed the door open slowly and nearly screamed. Hundreds of photographs covered the floor. Old photos, new photo, torn photos, burned photos, and every single one contained the same smiling woman. Emma dropped to her knees, flipping through them frantically. That's when she realized something horrifying. The woman wasn't standing in the same place anymore. In every newer photo, she was getting closer to the camera, closer to the family, even closer to Emma. Her shaking hands grabbed her phone immediately. She called her mother in panic. The moment Emma mentioned the woman in white, her mother went completely silent. Then suddenly, she whispered, "You need to leave that house right now." Emma demanded answers, but her mother sounded terrified. She kept repeating the same thing over and over. "Don't stay there tonight. Please just leave." Then suddenly her mother asked a strange question. "Has she started appearing closer yet?" Before Emma could respond, the call disconnected. Her phone screen went black, and from somewhere behind her, she heard whispering, soft female, almost impossible to understand. Emma slowly turned around. Nobody was there. The attic stood completely empty again, but something felt different now. The air inside the house felt colder, heavier. Then Emma noticed a single photograph lying on the floor near her feet. She knew for certain it hadn't been there before. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. The photo showed her grandmother standing beside a fireplace years ago. But now, the woman in white wasn't hidden in the background anymore. She stood directly beside her grandmother, smiling wider than ever before. Emma flipped the photograph over slowly. Written on the back in faded ink were 5 terrifying words: "She only appears before death." Emma's stomach dropped instantly, and suddenly, every strange memory from her childhood came rushing back. Emma searched through the photos even faster now. That's when she realized something even worse. The woman appeared in every funeral picture too. Every single family member who died had been photographed near her shortly before. Then Emma found a photo taken earlier, that same day at the funeral. Her breathing stopped immediately. The woman in white stood directly behind her, closer than she had ever been before. A loud creak echoed through the hallway outside the attic. Then came footsteps again, slowly approaching her door. Emma backed away in terror, while staring toward the darkness outside. The attic door slowly creaked open by itself. No wind, no movement, just darkness waiting outside. Emma raised the flashlight with shaking hands, and for one horrifying second, she thought she saw someone standing there. Then the woman stepped into the light. Pale skin, dark hollow eyes, a long white dress hanging unnaturally still around her body, and that same impossible smile. Emma couldn't move. She couldn't even breathe. The woman tilted her head slowly, then whispered Emma's name softly into the darkness. Her voice sounded distorted, like multiple voices speaking at once. And somehow, she sounded almost sad. Emma suddenly snapped out of her fear and ran downstairs. The house shook violently around her while thunder crashed outside. Family photographs began falling from the walls one after another. Glass shattered across the floor behind her. Then something impossible happened. Every photograph inside the house began changing. Faces disappeared from the pictures one by one, until only the smiling woman remained in every frame. Hidden inside her grandfather's office, Emma finally discovered the truth. Years ago, the woman had lived in the house, and one night, she vanished mysteriously. But, according to old newspaper clippings, people believed Emma's family had something to do with her disappearance. Emma uncovered old letters and hidden documents, revealing the horrifying truth. The woman hadn't disappeared. She had been murdered. And for generations, the family covered it up. The house itself had become haunted by what they had done. Suddenly, the lights exploded around the house, and at the top of the staircase stood the woman again. This time her smile was gone completely. Now she only looked angry. The ghost slowly raised her hand toward Emma. Dark shadows spread across the walls while the entire room trembled violently. Emma backed into the corner crying as the woman moved closer and closer. Then suddenly, everywhere went silent. Morning sunlight poured softly through the windows. The storm had disappeared completely. The house stood peaceful and quiet again. Emma sat on the floor exhausted, barely believing she survived the night. For the first time, the smiling woman was nowhere to be seen. Weeks later, Emma finally moved into a new apartment far away from the old house. Slowly, life began feeling normal again. Until one night, while scrolling through her phone gallery, she froze. A photo taken earlier that morning showed Emma standing outside a coffee shop, smiling at the camera. And far behind her, reflected faintly in the glass window, stood the woman in white, still smiling,